3 days after my mother-in-law's funeral, I received a FedEx package. Inside, a USB drive, a bank statement showing $2.4 million and a sticky note in her handwriting. Play the video alone. Don't trust him. Don't trust anyone. Margaret, I pressed play, and my hands started shaking. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and for 15 years, I believed my mother-in-law Margaret hated me. Every family dinner was a battlefield. Every holiday was psychological warfare. She criticized my cooking, my career, my clothes, even the way I held a fork. When I married her son David, she didn't come to the wedding. She sent a card that read, "Good luck. You'll need it." I thought she was the villain of my story. Turns out, she was writing a different ending the whole time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where it all started, the day Margaret collapsed at her 70th birthday party. It was June 2023. David and I had been married for 14 years. We lived in Seattle, in a modest 2-bedroom apartment that I'd decorated with thrift store furniture and IKEA finds. David worked as a financial advisor. I was a high school English teacher. We were comfortable, not wealthy, but happy. Or so I thought. Margaret lived in a sprawling estate in Bellevue, a 6-bedroom mansion with a view of Lake Washington. David grew up there. His father, Richard, had died when David was 12, leaving Margaret with a multi-million-dollar real estate empire. She'd built it even larger over the decades. Forbes estimated her net worth at $47 million. The birthday party was at her house. 200 guests. Catered food. A string quartet. Margaret wore a cream Chanel suit and looked like she'd stepped out of Vogue. I wore a navy dress from Target. The first thing she said to me, "Oh, Sarah, still shopping off the clearance rack?" David squeezed my hand. "Ignore her," he whispered. I'd been ignoring her for 14 years. The party was going smoothly until dessert. Margaret stood to give a speech, thanking everyone for coming. Mid-sentence, she stopped. Her face went pale. She clutched the table. "Mom?" David jumped up. Margaret collapsed. The next 6 hours were chaos. Ambulance, hospital, doctors rushing. David pacing. Me sitting in an uncomfortable plastic chair, wondering why I was even there. Margaret had made it clear I wasn't family. Not really. The doctor finally came out at 2 a.m. His face told us everything before he spoke. "I'm sorry," he said. "We did everything we could. The stroke was massive." "She didn't suffer," David sobbed. I held him. It felt strange, comforting him over the loss of a woman who'd spent 15 years making me feel worthless. But that's what you do, right? You show up. You hold them. Even when they didn't hold you. The funeral was 3 days later. More than 500 people attended. Business associates, country club friends, people who'd known Margaret as a titan of real estate, a philanthropist, a pillar of the community. Not one of them knew the woman who'd told me at Christmas dinner, in front of everyone, that it was such a shame. David and I never had children. "Some women just aren't meant to be mothers," she'd said, smiling sweetly while driving the knife deeper. We'd been trying for 3 years at that point. 3 years of negative pregnancy tests and doctor appointments and the slow, quiet grief of infertility. David never defended me. Not once. But here's where the story gets strange. The day after the funeral, David received a call from Margaret's attorney. "There's a will reading scheduled for Friday at 10 a.m., the attorney said. "Your mother requested you and Sarah both attend." "Sarah?" David frowned. "Why would she? Those were her instructions." "Both of you." David looked at me. I shrugged. Maybe she's leaving me her collection of passive-aggressive greeting cards. Friday morning, we drove to the attorney's office in downtown Seattle. It was in a glass tower with marble floors and the kind of hush that money buys. The attorney, a silver-haired man named Robert Brennan, greeted us in a conference room overlooking Elliott Bay. "Please, sit," he said. There was a manila folder on the table, and next to it, a FedEx envelope with my name on it. "Before we begin the official reading," Brennan said, "Margaret left specific instructions. Sarah, this is for you. She requested you receive it before the will is read." She also requested you open it in private. David reached for it. No! Brennan's voice was firm. Margaret was explicit. Sarah only. I took the envelope. It was heavier than I expected. My name was written in Margaret's elegant script. My hands trembled slightly as I stood. I'll just step outside for a minute, I said. David's jaw tightened, but he nodded. I walked down the hall to an empty office, closed the door, sat in the leather chair behind the desk, took a breath. Then I opened the envelope. Inside, the USB drive, the bank statement, and the note. My heart pounded as I read Margaret's handwriting again. Play the video alone. Don't trust him. Don't trust anyone. Margaret, what the hell? The bank statement was from a private wealth management firm. Account holder, Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell. Balance, $24,347,322.67. I'd never opened this account. I'd never even heard of this firm. I looked at the USB drive. It was small, black, unremarkable. But my hands shook as I plugged it into the laptop on the desk. One file. Video. Dated 3 months ago. I clicked play. Margaret's face filled the screen. She was sitting in her bedroom, the one with the lake view. She looked thin, older than I'd ever seen her. But her eyes were sharp. Hello, Sarah, she said. If you're watching this, I'm gone. And you're probably very confused. You might even hate me. You have every right to. Tears blurred my vision. I wiped them away, annoyed at myself for crying over a woman who'd never shown me kindness. I need to tell you something I should have said 15 years ago, Margaret continued. I never hated you. I know it seemed that way. I know I was cruel. But everything I did, every critical comment, every cold shoulder, was to protect you. I paused the video. Stared at the screen. Protect me? From what? I pressed play again. Margaret took a breath on screen, like she was steeling herself for what came next. When David brought you home to meet me, I saw something in you I recognized. Strength wrapped in kindness. You were everything I'd hoped he'd find. For about 6 months, I was genuinely happy for him, for both of you. Then I discovered something. Something that made me realize David was not the man I'd raised him to be. Or rather, he was exactly the man I'd feared he'd become. Margaret paused, her eyes glistening. 3 months before your wedding, I hired a private investigator. Not because of you, because of irregularities I'd noticed in my financial accounts. David had access to some of my business holdings. He was stealing from me, systematically, carefully. Over 2 years, he'd embezzled nearly $800,000. My stomach dropped. But that wasn't the worst of it, Margaret said softly. The investigator followed him for 3 weeks. And he discovered that David had another life. Another woman, a woman named Vanessa Chen in Portland. They'd been together for 4 years. 4 years, Sarah. She thought she was his girlfriend. You thought you were his fiancé. He was lying to you both. I couldn't breathe. I confronted him, Margaret continued. 2 weeks before your wedding. I told him I knew everything. The embezzlement, Vanessa, all of it. And I gave him a choice, call off the wedding and turn himself in, or I'd do it for him. I'd go to the police. I'd tell you everything. He cried. He begged. He swore Vanessa meant nothing, that he loved you, that he'd made mistakes, but he was done. He said if I exposed him, it would destroy his life. Margaret's voice hardened. And then he said something that changed everything. He said, if you tell Sarah, I'll make sure she never sees a dime of your money. I'll turn her against you. I'll make her choose me. And when you're old and dying, she'll be the one keeping me from pulling the plug. Tears streamed down my face now. I couldn't stop them. So I made a deal with the devil, Margaret said. I told him I wouldn't expose him. I wouldn't tell you, but in exchange, he had to end things with Vanessa immediately. He had to pay back every dollar he stole, which he did through a business loan arrangement. And he had to marry you and stay married to you. She leaned forward, her face filling the screen. I know how that sounds. I forced my son to marry you under threat. But Sarah, I did it because I saw what he was. A manipulator, a liar, someone who would use you and discard you. I thought if I could keep him accountable, keep him under my watch, I could protect you. And I thought maybe Maybe being married to someone as good as you would change him. Her voice cracked. I was wrong. He didn't change. He just got better at hiding. Margaret straightened in her chair. When she spoke again, her voice was steel. For 15 years I've been watching him. And for 15 years I've been cruel to you because I needed him to think I hated you. If he thought we were close, he'd see you as a threat. He'd isolate you, control you, destroy you. But if he thought I despised you, he'd keep you around. You were proof he'd won against me. Proof he'd defied his terrible mother. My God, I criticized your cooking so he wouldn't notice how good it was. I mocked your career so he wouldn't resent your success. I stayed cold so he'd never suspect I was protecting you. Every cruel word was a shield I put between you and his worst instincts. She wiped her eyes. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know the truth before what comes next, because David never changed. He's still stealing from me. He's still lying. And now that I'm gone, he's going to try to take everything from my estate and from you. The account I've set up for you? That's your escape money. $2.4 million. Untraceable. In your name only. He doesn't know it exists. Margaret leaned closer to the camera. In my will, I'm leaving David a small inheritance, $100,000. Everything else, the house, the business, the investments, all $47 million is going to you, I gasped out loud. He's going to fight it, Margaret said. He'll be furious. He'll contest the will. He'll try to prove you manipulated me, that I wasn't in my right mind. That's why I'm making this video, as proof that I knew exactly what I was doing. She smiled. A real smile, the first I'd ever seen from her. You were the daughter I never had. Sarah, the one I wish I'd raised. And I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. I'm sorry I let you believe I hated you. But I need you to promise me something. When you walk back into that conference room, don't react. Don't tell David what you know. Don't show him the video. Act surprised by the will. Let him think he can contest it. Let him think he can win. And when he shows his true colors, when he drops the mask, you'll see him for what he is. Then you can walk away with your head high and your bank account full. Margaret's eyes softened. You deserved better than my son. You deserved honesty and respect and love that wasn't built on a lie. I'm sorry I couldn't give you that. But I can give you this, freedom, choice, and enough money to build whatever life you want without him. She took a breath. There's one more thing. In the safety deposit box at Seattle First Bank, box number 447, there's a file. The investigator's full report. Every affair David's had in the last 15 years. And yes, there have been others. Every dollar he's stolen from me that I've tracked. Every lie he's told. It's all documented. If he fights the will, give that file to your attorney. It will destroy any case he tries to make. Margaret reached forward, like she was about to turn off the camera, then stopped. One last thing, Sarah. I watched you for 15 years. I saw how you stayed kind even when I was cruel. How you showed up to every family dinner even when you knew I'd tear you down. How you held my son when he cried at my funeral, even though he's never held you when you needed it. Tears rolled down her face. That's who you are. Strong, loyal, good. Don't let him take that from you. Don't let my failures poison your heart. She smiled once more. Go build your life, sweetheart. Be happy. You have my blessing and my fortune. Use it well. The screen went black. I sat there in that borrowed office crying so hard I couldn't breathe. 15 years. 15 years of cruelty that was actually protection. 15 years of a loveless marriage built on blackmail and lies. And $47 million waiting for me in a will I hadn't even heard read yet. I took 10 minutes to compose myself. Washed my face in the bathroom down the hall. Steadied my breathing. Slipped the USB drive into my purse along with the bank statement. Folded the note and put it in my pocket. When I walked back into the conference room, David looked up sharply. What took so long? She left me a letter, I said calmly. An apology for how she treated me. His face softened. That's actually kind of nice. I sat down. Robert Brennan cleared his throat. Shall we proceed with the will? I nodded. David leaned back in his chair, confident. He probably expected the bulk of the estate. He was the only child, after all. The golden boy. Brennan opened the manila folder. The last will and testament of Margaret Elizabeth Thornton, dated March 15th, 2023. I, Margaret Elizabeth Thornton, being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to be my last will and testament. Standard legal language followed. Revocation of prior wills. Appointment of Brennan as executor. Then came the bequests. To my son, David Richard Thornton, I leave the sum of $100,000 to be paid from my liquid assets. David sat up straight. Wait, what? Brennan continued reading. I also leave him my father's pocket watch and the family Bible. That's it? David's voice rose. $100,000 and a watch? Mr. Thornton, please let me finish. I kept my face neutral. Inside, my heart was racing. To my daughter-in-law, Sarah Elizabeth Mitchell, I leave the entirety of my remaining estate, including but not limited to the property located at 2847 Bellevue Way, all business holdings in Thornton Real Estate LLC, all investment accounts, all remaining liquid assets, and all personal property not otherwise specified. Current estimated value, $47.3 million. The silence in the room was deafening. David stood up so fast his chair fell over. This is insane. She wasn't in her right mind. Mr. Thornton, Brennan said calmly, I can assure you that your mother was examined by 3 independent physicians before signing this will. All 3 confirmed she was of sound mind. She also recorded a video statement explaining her reasoning. Would you like to view it? Yes, David snarled. I want to see it right now. Brennan pulled out a laptop, queued up a video. Pressed play, Margaret appeared on screen. Not the same video she'd left for me. This one was filmed in Brennan's office, with him visible in the background. I, Margaret Elizabeth Thornton, declare that I am making this will of my own free will, without coercion or undue influence. I am leaving the bulk of my estate to Sarah Mitchell, because she has proven herself to be a woman of integrity, kindness, and strength. She has endured much and complained little. She deserves security and freedom. David's face was red. This is because of you. He turned on me. You manipulated her. Mr. Thornton, Brennan interrupted. If you continue, I'll have to ask you to leave. David pointed at me, his fingers shaking. We've been married 15 years. 15 years? And you turn my own mother against me? For the first time in our marriage, I saw him clearly. Really saw him, the man who'd never defended me. Who'd watched his mother tear me down and said nothing. Who'd made me feel like I was the problem. Like I wasn't enough, like if I just tried harder, his mother would love me. He'd been playing us both the whole time. I didn't turn her against you, David, I said quietly. You did that yourself. What's that supposed to mean? I could have told him right then. Could have thrown everything Margaret told me in his face. Vanessa, the embezzlement, the 15 years of lies, but Margaret was right. I needed to see how he'd react. Needed to watch him remove the mask completely. It means exactly what I said. This is between you and your mother's memory. I had nothing to do with her will. David grabbed his coat. I'm contesting this. I'm getting a lawyer. You won't see a penny of that money. That's your right, Brennan said. But I should inform you that your mother anticipated this possibility. She's left detailed documentation explaining her decision. It will be very difficult to overturn. David looked at me one more time. The expression on his face wasn't grief or confusion. It was rage. Pure, undiluted rage. This isn't over, he said. Then he stormed out. Brennan turned to me. Mrs. Mitchell, are you all right? I realized I was shaking. Not from fear. From relief. Yes, I said. I'm all right. That night, David didn't come home. He texted at 11 p.m., staying at a hotel. Need time to think. I sat in our small apartment, surrounded by our modest furniture, and pulled out the USB drive again. Watched Margaret's video 3 more times. The next morning, I went to Seattle First Bank, showed my ID, asked to access safety deposit box 447. The file inside was 2 inches thick. I sat in the private viewing room and read every page. The investigator's report confirmed everything Margaret said. Vanessa Chen, the Portland girlfriend, whom David had dated before he met me and never actually ended things with. Monthly visits. Joint vacations he'd told me were work conferences, but Vanessa wasn't the only one. There was Rachel, a client he'd had an affair with in 2019, Jennifer, a woman from his gym in 2021, and currently, a woman named Lisa, his assistant at work. Photos, hotel receipts, text messages the investigator had obtained somehow. Can't wait to see you tonight. Tell your wife you're working late. Lisa, she's suspicious. We need to be more careful. David, your wife doesn't need to know anything. When your mom dies, you'll be rich anyway. Then we can be together. Lisa. That last text was dated 1 month before Margaret's stroke. I closed the file. Sat there in that small room staring at the wall. 15 years. Our entire marriage was a lie. The investigator's report also included financial records. David hadn't just stolen from Margaret before our wedding. He'd been stealing from her for our entire marriage. Small amounts. $5,000 here, $10,000 there, funneled through fake business expenses. Total amount embezzled over 15 years. $1.3 million, and I'd known none of it. I'd been teaching high school English, grading papers at our kitchen table, saving money to buy a decent couch, while my husband stole millions and spent it on hotel rooms with other women. I returned to the apartment at noon. David was there, packing a suitcase. "Where are you going?" I asked. "My lawyer says I need to establish separate residence while we sort out the will." Sort out the will? David, it's your mother's money. She can leave it to whoever she wants. He zipped the suitcase violently. She was manipulated. Everyone knows she hated you. There's no way she'd leave you everything unless you got inside her head somehow. I could have kept quiet. Could have let him dig his own grave in court. But I was so tired. 15 years of tired. "I know about Vanessa," I said. David froze. "I know about Rachel, Jennifer, Lisa." He turned slowly. "What are you talking about?" "I also know about the $1.3 million you stole from your mother over the past 15 years. His face went white. "Your mother kept files. David, detailed files, photos, financial records, everything. That's... She didn't..." I pulled the USB drive from my pocket, held it up. She recorded a video. 3 months before she died, she told me everything. The embezzlement before our wedding. The ultimatum she gave you. How she forced you to marry me. David's hands clenched into fists. She had no right. She had every right. My voice was louder than I'd ever raised it at him. "You stole from her. You lied to me. You've been cheating on me for 15 years. "It wasn't like that," he said, but his voice was weak. "Those women, they didn't mean anything." "Then why did you keep seeing them? Why did you tell Lisa you'd be together when your mother died? How did you—" He stopped. Realized he'd just confirmed it. "Your mother wasn't cruel to me because she hated me," I said. "She was cruel to me to protect me from you. So you'd never see me as a threat. So you'd keep me around as proof that you'd defied her." David's face twisted. "She told you that?" "She spent 15 years playing a role so I'd be safe from you. And it worked. Because I never saw who you really were. I thought I was the problem. I thought if I just tried harder, was better, did more, maybe you'd love me." Tears streamed down my face. "But you never loved me at all, did you?" David didn't answer. "Your mother forced you to marry me, so you punished me for 15 years. Made me feel small. Made me feel worthless. All while stealing from her and sleeping with other women. Sarah, get out." "This is my apartment too," he said. "Not anymore. I'll be filing for divorce tomorrow. And if you contest your mother's will, I'll give the investigator's file to my attorney. Every affair, every dollar you stole, all of it will become public record. Your career will be over. Your reputation will be destroyed." David's jaw worked. I could see him calculating. Weighing his options, finally, he grabbed his suitcase. "You're making a mistake." "No," I said. "I made a mistake 15 years ago. I'm fixing it now." He walked to the door, stopped, looked back. I never meant to hurt you. Yes, you did, I said. You just didn't want to get caught. The divorce took 6 months. David didn't contest Margaret's will, not after I sent his attorney a summary of what I had. He signed the papers quietly, took his $100,000 inheritance, and moved to Portland. I heard through mutual friends that he and Lisa broke up 3 weeks later. I sold the Bellevue estate. Couldn't live there. Too many ghosts. I bought a smaller house on Bainbridge Island with a view of the water. Donated $5 million to charities Margaret had supported. Set up a scholarship fund for low-income students in her name. The rest I invested carefully. I quit teaching. Not because I didn't love it, but because I wanted time to figure out who I was without David. Without Margaret's protection. Without the weight of 15 years of lies. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a letter. From Portland. The return address was Vanessa Chen. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. Dear Sarah, it read. You don't know me, but I know you. Or at least I know of you. My name is Vanessa, and I dated your ex-husband before, during, and after your marriage. I'm writing because I think you deserve to know the truth about what happened between us. And because I owe you an apology. I sat down on my porch, the sound of waves in the background, and kept reading. David and I met in college. We dated for 2 years. When he told me he was moving to Seattle for a job, I thought we were doing long distance. He visited me every month, called me his girlfriend, talked about our future. Then one day I saw a wedding announcement in the paper. David Thornton marries Sarah Elizabeth Wilson. I called him hysterical. He said it was a business arrangement. His mother was forcing him. He didn't love you. He loved me. He begged me to wait for him. Said he'd divorce you as soon as his mother died and he got his inheritance. I'm ashamed to say I believed him. For 14 years, I believed him. We'd see each other once a month. He'd tell me about his terrible wife, his controlling mother, how trapped he felt. I thought I was helping him through a difficult situation. Then last year, I met someone else. Someone who actually wanted to be with me in the daylight. Who introduced me to his family. Who didn't make me hide. I told David I was done. He was furious. Threatened to ruin my career? I'm a real estate agent. He said he'd tell everyone in the industry I'd slept with a married man. But I didn't care anymore. I blocked his number. 2 months ago, I read about his mother's death and the will. About how she left everything to you, not him. I realized she must have known what kind of man he was. And I realized you probably never knew about me. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry I helped him lie to you. I'm sorry I believed his story about you being part of some business arrangement. You were a real person living a real life with a man who was using you. And I helped him do it. I hope you're okay. I hope you took that inheritance and built something beautiful with it. You deserved better than what he gave you. Sincerely, Vanessa. I read the letter 3 times. Then I did something that surprised me. I wrote back. Dear Vanessa, thank you for your honesty. You don't owe me an apology. David lied to both of us. He's very good at it. I hope you're happy with your new person. You deserve someone who doesn't make you hide. Sincerely, Sarah, I mailed it the next day. 2 weeks later, another letter arrived. Dear Sarah, your kindness is more than I deserved. If you're ever in Portland, I'd love to buy you coffee. No pressure, just it might be nice to talk to someone who understands what it's like to be on the other side of David's lies. Vanessa, I thought about it for a long time. Then I drove to Portland. We met at a cafe near Powell's Books. Vanessa was tall, with dark hair and kind eyes. She looked as nervous as I felt. Hi, she said. Hi. We sat down, ordered coffee, stared at each other across the table. This is weird, she said. So weird, I agreed. And then we both laughed. Real laughter, the kind that breaks tension and builds bridges. We talked for 4 hours. About David, about the lies, about how he'd made us both feel crazy, like we were asking for too much when we wanted basic honesty. He told me you were cold. Vanessa said, that you didn't love him, that you'd only married him for his family's money. He told me he was working late every Thursday, I said. That's when he was with you, wasn't it? She nodded. Thursday was our night. And his mother, I said slowly, knew the whole time. She knew about me? Vanessa looked shocked. I told her about Margaret. The video, the protection plan, the 15 years of cruelty that was actually love in disguise. When I finished, Vanessa was crying. She sounds like an incredible woman, she said. She was. I just wish I'd known sooner. We finished our coffee. Exchanged numbers. Promised to stay in touch. As I drove back to Seattle, I realized something. Margaret had given me more than money. She'd given me the truth. And the truth, however painful, was what finally set me free. 3 months later, Vanessa called me. There's something you need to know, she said. David's engaged. To who? I asked, though part of me already knew. Lisa, his assistant. The wedding's in 2 months. I should have felt angry. Or hurt, or something. But all I felt was relief that it wasn't my problem anymore. Good for them, I said. Sarah, there's more. Lisa's been asking mutual friends about the will. About whether David can still contest it. I think she's pushing him to go after the money. He can't. His lawyer already confirmed it. His mother's will is airtight. I know. But I thought you should know what they're planning. Thank you, I said. Really? Thank you. After we hung up, I looked around my house. The one I'd bought with Margaret's inheritance. I'd filled it with art and books and comfortable furniture. I'd started writing again, something I'd loved in college but given up when I married David. My first short story had just been published in a literary magazine. It was about a woman who discovers her mother-in-law's secret after death. Fiction, but not really. A week later, I received a certified letter from David's attorney. He was contesting the will after all. I called Robert Brennan. I thought you said the will was airtight. It is. This is a nuisance suit. He's hoping you'll settle rather than go through a long court battle. What do I need to do? Give me the investigator's file. All of it. We'll file a counterclaim for the money he stole from Margaret's estate. He'll drop the suit within a week. He was right. 4 days after Brennan filed the counterclaim with supporting documentation, David's attorney withdrew the contest. But David sent me one final message. You think you won. But that money will never make you happy. You'll always be the woman who destroyed my relationship with my mother. I read it, deleted it, and wrote my own response. Your mother and I had no relationship to destroy. You made sure of that. But in the end, she saw what you are, and she made sure I'd be okay when you couldn't hurt me anymore. That's not destruction. That's love. I never heard from him again. Margaret's estate was fully settled 8 months after her death. $47.3 million minus taxes and legal fees came to about $31 million. More money than I'd ever imagined. More money than I knew what to do with. I sat on my porch one evening, watching the sunset over Puget Sound, thinking about Margaret. About the 15 years she'd spent playing a role. The 15 years I'd spent believing I wasn't enough. I thought about Vanessa, who'd wasted 14 years waiting for a man who was never going to choose her. I thought about all the women David had hurt, would continue to hurt, and I realized something. Margaret hadn't just given me her money. She'd given me a mission. I called Vanessa. How would you like to help me start a nonprofit? What kind of nonprofit? One that helps women leave bad relationships. Financial support, legal help, counseling, housing if they need it. Everything I wish I'd had 15 years ago. Vanessa was quiet for a moment. I'm in. We called it the Margaret Thornton Foundation for Women's Independence. We started small. A website, a hotline, partnerships with domestic violence organizations and divorce, attorneys willing to do pro bono work. The first woman we helped was named Elena. She'd been married for 23 years. To a man who controlled every dollar, monitored her phone, told her she was worthless. She had 3 kids and no job. The foundation paid for her divorce attorney, set her up in an apartment, connected her with job training. 6 months later, she sent us a photo. Her and her kids in their new apartment smiling. You gave me my life back, the note said. I cried when I read it. That was 2 years ago. We've helped 147 women since then. The foundation now has an endowment of $10 million. We've expanded to 3 cities. Vanessa runs the Portland office. I run Seattle. We're opening a 3rd location in San Francisco next month. Last week, I got an email from a woman who wouldn't give her name. I'm married to David Thornton, it said. I need help. I stared at the email for a long time. David had been married to Lisa for a year and a half. It hadn't even crossed my mind to check on her. I called the number she provided. She answered on the first ring. Is this Sarah? Her voice was shaking. Yes. I'm Lisa, David's wife. I don't know who else to call. What happened? I found out he's been stealing from my accounts. And there are messages on his phone from other women. When I confronted him, he said I was crazy, that I was imagining things. But I know what I saw. Gaslighting. The same thing he'd done to me, to Vanessa, to every woman he'd ever been with. Lisa, do you have somewhere safe to go? My sister's in Tacoma. But David controls all our money. I can't afford an attorney. You don't need to. Come to my office tomorrow. Bring any evidence you have. We'll help you. Why would you help me? I was his assistant when he was married to you. I knew he was married. I'm part of the reason— Lisa, I interrupted gently. I've been where you are. Someone helped me. Now I'm helping you. That's how this works, she started crying. Thank you. Lisa came to the foundation the next day. We set her up with an attorney, helped her document David's financial abuse, got her into a safe apartment. Her divorce took 8 months. David tried the same tactics, claiming she was unstable, that she'd manipulated him, that she was lying about the abuse. But this time, he was up against a legal team that knew exactly who he was. We had Margaret's investigators' files. We had testimony from Vanessa and me. We had evidence of a pattern spanning 20 years. The judge awarded Lisa a significant settlement and a restraining order. David's reputation in the financial services industry was destroyed. Last I heard, he'd moved to Arizona and was working in sales. Lisa now volunteers at the foundation. She helps other women recognize the signs of financial abuse. I was so stupid, she told me once. You weren't stupid, I said. He's just really good at lying. Last month was the 5-year anniversary of Margaret's death. I visited her grave for the first time since the funeral. The headstone was simple granite. Margaret Elizabeth Thornton, beloved mother and businesswoman. 1953-2023, I brought flowers. Sat down on the grass beside the grave. Hi, Margaret, I said. I don't know if you can hear me, but I wanted to say thank you. For the money, yes. But more than that, for seeing me. For protecting me. For 15 years, I thought you hated me. Turns out you loved me more than anyone. The wind rustled through the trees. A bird sang somewhere nearby. I'm using your money the way you'd want. We've helped almost 200 women now. Women trapped in bad marriages with men like David. We give them what you gave me, a way out. And the truth. I wiped my eyes. I wish I'd known sooner. Wish you'd told me, but I understand why you couldn't. You were playing the long game, protecting me the only way you could. I stood up, brushed grass off my jeans. I'm okay now. More than okay. I'm happy. I have work that matters. Friends who are real. A life that's mine. I touched the headstone one last time. You were right, Margaret. The truth does set you free, even when it comes too late. As I walked back to my car, I thought about the USB drive. I'd kept it in a safe deposit box, along with the investigators' files. Evidence of David's lies. Proof of Margaret's protection, but I didn't need it anymore. Didn't need to carry the weight of those 15 years. Margaret had given me something more valuable than $47 million. She'd given me a choice, to stay trapped in bitterness, or to build something beautiful from the wreckage. I chose beautiful. And somewhere, I think Margaret was smiling.